Yo guys, this is Reinhardt and I'm deleting top level character in Guild Wars 1. Wait, what? Well, anyway guys, this is the video about the Guild Wars 2 and why I think Guild Wars 2 PvP is not gonna flop. And then we're gonna go on the first, actually the main reason what I think is awesome about Guild Wars 2. And the number 10 reason is don't grind me, bitch. It's basically is here. Whenever you want to enter a PvP in Guild Wars 2, structured PvP, like sort of like a arenas, hybrid between arenas and battlegrounds. Well, guess what? You're gonna be at top level no matter what. You don't have to grind your ass off to get there. You're gonna have all the skills unlocked as well, which I think is awesome. That means that if I want a PvP, I want a PvP. I don't want a PvE. I don't want to grind my ass so I could get into PvP. I think it's actually pretty an amazing concept. It's more like, hey, this game is fun to play. Join in and start having fun. Unlike in World of Warcraft, hey, get your top level, get your gear, honor gear first, get your cataclysmic, and then maybe you can get your tier 2. In all honesty, garbage compared to this thing. And the main thing I like about this one is if I want to learn how to counter individual classes, I can easily do so by just trying out the different classes at the max level, unlike in World of Warcraft where I have to actually get to a top level before I could do anything. Now the reason number 9. The reason 9 is my gear equals to your gear. Everybody's like, oh yeah, this is like a World of Warcraft welfare all over this place. Well, let's put it this way in perspective. As a PvPer, I want to have the same gear as everybody else. That way the skills will actually matter on the outcome. And guess what? They give a max gear right off the start in Guild Wars 2, which I think is actually an amazing concept. Think about it this way, no more want to sell 2200 RBG carries. A piece of shit living with my grandma in my grandma's basement when I sell 2200 carry. No more shit like that, no more dealing with the fucking nerds and assholes just so you could get at the same competitive level as everybody else, which I think is a total bogus, to be honest. And I like the way actually they're gonna make it in Guild Wars 2. That your skills will not get you a better gear, but they will give you a better cosmetics at the end, which I think is actually a completely fair situation. Instead of World of Warcraft, where if you PvP or you buy carries, you have the better gear than everybody else, which I think is bullshit. And the cosmetics gear for World of Warcraft, 2200 versus non-elite, is a complete garbage anyway. Oh, and the transmog idea for Blizzard, they actually copied it from Rift. So let's keep going. Reason number 7, spec versus spec, not class versus class. No more I'm a rogue bitch, I'm gonna fuck you up. No, this is how it's gonna work. 5 DPS skills based on the weapon, then 3 utilities, 1 healing and 1 elite spell. This will be a core structure for Guild Wars. Now let me actually maximize the screen and reiterate what I'm actually meaning here. If you guys could see here, I have a lot of different abilities, and those abilities actually differ from what kind of weapon I have. So the sword skills are gonna be different from the axe skills. They're gonna be different from the hammer skills and whatnot. So with that said, what actually in Guild Wars is gonna be making is 5 DPS skills is gonna be based on the weapon you're gonna have. So, and you can have 2 different weapons at the same time. You can just switch on and on. And then there are gonna be 3 utilities and 1 healing. And after that, after 1 healing, it's gonna be 1 elite, sort of like League of Legends type of elite skill, which is gonna be very good, very impressive, but on a very long cooldown. Think about it this way. Let's say if we take and there are gonna be hundreds of different skills for your class, but you can only pick 10 of those skills. So let's say you're gonna have like 15 different sword strikes. You can only pick 5 as your main thing. And then of course there's gonna be a difference between one-hander, two-hander, and actually even dual-wield one-handers. So with that said, think about it this way. If we take DK for example and the Rogue, and we put them into Guild Wars 2, this is how it's gonna work. DK chooses his DPS abilities, Rogue is gonna be choosing his DPS abilities. And then for utilities, they probably can pick AMS, IBF, for example, Strangulate. And then the Rogue will have to pick something like maybe Garrote, Kidney Shot, Chip Shot. Or Garrote, evasion, kidney shot. And those abilities that he's gonna take, he's not gonna have any more utilities. So it's not gonna be like some classes have this humongous amount of different utilities they can dick around with in PvP. And the other classes are usually left with fucking jack squad. And because of that thing, the damage dealing between the classes is actually gonna be basically pretty much balanced because of the utilities. No more classes having absurd amount of utilities and not doing any damage, or no longer there gonna be such thing as these classes don't have much utilities or much survivability, therefore they have to be doing this humongous amount of damage. And I think this is actually a very cool concept, guys. Think about it this way and let me know what you think. Okay, and that basically leads me to reason number 6 why I think Guild Wars 2 PvP is not gonna flop. And it's gonna be Robin equals to Batman. There's no such thing will be as basically, hey, I have high levels, you have low levels, therefore I win. No more shit like that. There's gonna be a sidekick system which basically is gonna down level you to the level of the zone you are in. So for example, if 85 warrior is hunting in level 5 zone, he will be downgraded to a level of 5 warrior. If he has an excellent gear, he might have a little bit of an edge, but because there's only 10 skills to pick from, the odds are the other warrior is gonna have the same amount of skills. Not the same skills, but the same amount of skills, and they actually can fight back relatively well to this warrior who tries to basically camp him because he has a higher level. I personally think that those guys absolutely have no life, but so is internet basically too. It has absolutely no life and it needs to get laid. Let's move to reason number 5. The reason number 5, no healers. And I want you just to think how big it is for a second here. No healers. Of course there are not gonna be any tanks, but no healers, which is huge. Think about it this way, guys. You no longer have to kiss somebody ass like somewhere here on this fucking mini cartoon. You're no longer gonna be actually tied up into having to play the spec that you don't like. For example, Reds going Holy Poly so they could be just viable. No longer shit like that. And the best part about it is you're no longer gonna be responsible for fuck ups of other people if you play healer. And if you die, you're fucking horrible and nothing is gonna change it. No healer is gonna get you out of that stuff. This is what I like the most, because the deaths at the decision making will be up to the player and not the group. No more responsibility allocations. And if you guys think about it, that the healers is not major part, it actually is. So for somebody who wants to play support, they can probably pick the support specs for each individual class. Yes, the warrior can be even support. But think about it this way for a second here. How big of a no healer is. All the utilities, all the damage of every single ability and everything that's happening in World of Warcraft right now is dictated by how strong the healing actually is. So without that, without the healers, you can easily balance the game around the actual classes and have a much better and more fun time actually playing and less time looking for group or anything like that. Reason number 4, and this one is actually pisses me off the most. If you guys can see on the top left corner, I have a buff that is hidden behind the servers and I'm not sure how to move my AI, but it's basically here says PvP, and let me zoom in here for a second. PvP, in player versus player maps, some skills behave differently. Altered skills have PvP added to their names. Wait, what the fuck? Let me reread it really quickly here again. Oh my god, wait. PvP. Player versus player maps. Some skills behave differently. Altered skills have PvP added icons to their names. The fuck? Wait, it can't be true. No, that sounds way too good to be true. Wait, it cannot possibly mean that all these years that we were torturing ourselves in World of Warcraft PvP where they could have just balanced through a different coding. Oh no, oh shit, it is true. Wow. Really? Even in Guild Wars 1, the skills behave differently in PvP and PvE? Oh my god, man, this is so innovating. No, I'm just trolling. For fuck's sakes, guys. This shit just pisses me off the most. We all know what the shit really is there. We all know that fucking Find Weakness is overpowered right now and the rogues are number 1 because their damage is absurd for the amount of utilities we have. We all know that we're struggling through a freaking arena season because some classes are just over dominating because they have more utilities and damage. And the reason why Blizzard doing it is because they should be viable in PvE and stay competitive in PvE, even though they never fucking even balance PvE at all to begin with. Like, imagine how much of a slap to the face that's to us, our subscribers to World of Warcraft. Think about it for a second, guys, here. And I just don't understand why the game with such a little amount of resources could have figured out the way to actually alter the skills and make them behave differently in PvP versus the PvE, when a multi-billion-dollar company still says it's too difficult for them to code, for fuck's sakes. And we'll make a post about the total disregard for PvP. Blizzard's like, yeah, we read it, we agree, your life sucks. Let's keep going, let's make another expansion. And don't worry, guys, everything is gonna be balanced in the next expansion. Everything. And for God's sake, I'm not bashing too much on Mists of Pandaria. I think what they're doing is beautiful. And I heard they are gonna be taking over the now tournaments, which is actually also pretty amazing. But the thing is though, like, where's the trust anymore? Blizzard overpromised so much and they shit themselves badly with the DKs. And now they have a new class, they're reworking all the classes, and they're also buffing our HP levels to 400, 600, 500 HP. 500k HP. So, how does that work? The amount of HP we're gonna have is tremendous. The Blizzard have so much things on their hands and they're gonna flop, most likely. And by the way, the utility talent system was, by the way, copied from fucking Guild Wars. But in Guild Wars you pick 10 skills, which are 3 utilities and 5 DPS skills. You only have 10 to pick from. I don't have many talents. So what Blizzard did is basically the same thing. Exactly the same thing. With the last one being the ultimate, so to say. So okay, let's keep going, because I'm getting frustrated talking about the Blizzard when I'm actually looking at the Guild Wars right now. Okay, top 10 reasons. Top 3 reasons now. The reason number 3, you no longer has your PvE in my PvP. In all honesty, this is the model of the Guild Wars as far as I understand. PvE is gonna be a completely separate, okay? The reason why I'm saying is there not gonna be any more like overpowered trinkets that proc the instant death or some shit. There not gonna be any more PvE gear is the best in slots for PvP, or PvP gear can work in PvE. No, the gear actually gonna be pretty equalized. It's the cosmetics gonna be different. You see, guys, we as a gamers, we became spoiled brats since we started playing World of Warcraft. When was the last time we actually played into a dungeon because it was freaking fun as hell? When was the last time we actually were in a dungeon where the monster was trying to kill us and we tried to dodge his attacks? Like, I'm talking about seriously, like dodge him, run them around, run away. How many times was that in World of Warcraft? No, it's just a specific grind which whoever can pad the meters better is supposedly better player. They're no longer gonna be balancing issues, no longer gonna be one skill is ridiculously overpowered in PvP, but we need it to survive in PvE. No longer shit like that. But if we look at the World of Warcraft, here's what we have. We have a big brown circle, which is their PvE, which stands for shit, and then we have a red circle, which is basically stands for diarrhea, which is the PvP of World of Warcraft. This is the World of Warcraft perfect model in its beauty. And yes, it's in brown because it's like McDonald's. It's shit, but we eat it anyway because there's no good substitute. And by the way, the idea of PvP power was actually been stolen from Star Wars. Blizzard did not originally came up with that shit. Reason number 2, and we're getting closer to the end. The reason number 2, dodge is a new resource. There's gonna be a new energy bar. You can roll on the ground, avoid some AoE or some skills that are gonna be pointed at you. And one dodge roll, so to say, uses half of your energy bar. Imagine how awesome that is actually, being able to get out of the AoEs and no longer be reliant on the healing in order to take damage, but in terms of avoiding damage yourself. Imagine how far they think of PvP that they actually introducing a new resource mechanic that is specifically kind of determined about the PvP and avoidance to further kind of enhance that the skill will actually matter in the freaking game. And the reason number one, eSports. They are actually going to support the eSports. What they said is they are going to provide the streams, maybe provide like enablement on their websites in terms of the streaming for the tournaments. And they're gonna be hosting the tournaments themselves. They actually will care about the competitiveness of PvP esports, or even the PvE for that matter. And by the way, the dungeon challenges, like I said, was a Blizzard's way of stealing some shit from Guild Wars, which is completely shady. This is the response of Blizzard's, one of the Blizzard developers, talking about the PvP versus the PvE and esports.
No, not really.
No.
And that's kind of the reason why is anything that even remotely points it toward... We know people are going to want to turn it into an esport. Like, wow. We know that. Like, but it's not going to be from any encouragement from us. The big reason being that we are never going to allow, at least over my dead body, the PvP game to wag the tail on game balance. And so we want the PvE game to rule it. Even the amount that PvP can alter the PvE game in WoW is unacceptable to us. Whenever we run into a case of, this would be really awesome for PvE, and then the PvP guy goes, that kind of screws PvP, the answer is always, shut up, PvP guy. It's awesome in PvE, so that's what we're doing.
After making all my research, I never actually said that any of the MMOs are going to be WoW killers. And I certainly don't expect for Guild Wars 2 to be a WoW killer, to be honest, too. Because WoW is so big, they already have a loyal subscriber base. It's like one of the awful, god-awful YouTube channels that are so big right now because they're one of the first ones to start it. Blizzard was the kind of like an industry first to enter for the serious MMO when it comes to PvP and balancing. But I definitely think that they're doing a horrible job at balancing right now, and I cannot wait for Guild Wars 2, and now you guys at least know the reasons why. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope this video helped you get my perspective of the Guild Wars 2. Thanks for watching, and до свидания.